The 1970s were a slow groove summer evening when the streetlights came on, but the music kept playing. Maybe you remember the sound of the radio humming through a warm window screen, or an older cousin showing you how to move just a little smoother. These are the R&B gems only those who truly lived the 70s still feel in their bones. Number 10, Ain't No Woman Like the One I've Got by the Four Tops.
Ain't no woman like the one I've got.
Released in 1973 on ABC Dunhill, this was the era when the Four Tops were proving they could evolve beyond the Motown hit machine that defined their 60s legacy. The world was changing. Soul was getting silkier, smoother, with just a touch of Quiet Storm before the Quiet Storm even had a name.
When she smiles so warm and tender.
And this song, it slid into hearts like warm honey. There's a story in the studio mix. Producers Dennis Lambert and Brian Potter layered those harmonies to feel like a soft, confident declaration, not to shout. It wasn't about begging for love. It was about holding on to something special. And anyone who remembers hearing this on a crackling radio knows exactly that feeling.
Wouldn't be surprised if my love keeps growing.
Close your eyes and you can picture it. Afro picks stuck in back pockets, summer breezes through polyester shirts, someone singing along slightly off key while frying chicken on a Saturday night. It was family music, backyard card table music, front porch just talking music.
Ain't no woman like the one I love. She can feel.
It hit a 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became one of the Four Tops' smoothest late career triumphs. If number 10 feels this warm, you already know we're just getting started. Number 9, If You Don't Know Me By Now by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. There are love songs, and then there are songs that stop time. Released in 1972 on Philadelphia International Records, this was when the Philly soul sound was just beginning to bloom. Lush strings, velvet arrangements, and voices that sounded like confessionals whispered at 2 a.m.
Right and wrong, I ain't gonna do.
And right there at the microphone was Teddy Pendergrass, still early in his career, pouring out a heartbreak so real it could crack a room in half. What many folks remember isn't just the melody, it's the moment. Maybe it was your parents slow dancing in the living room, the lights dimmed, the record gently popping as it spun. Maybe it was a first breakup, sitting in the back seat while the radio unfurled every word you didn't know how to say.
If you don't lie now.
Behind the scenes, the group wasn't always at peace. Egos were rising, and Teddy's star was shining just a little too bright. This song was one of the sparks that hinted he might soon step out on his own and become the legend we now know. Yet, the magic of this recording is the unity. The way every harmony, every violin swell supports Teddy like a choir of memory and regret.
Our own funny moves, I've got mine.
It hit number 1 on the R&B chart and became the soundtrack of longing for a whole generation. If number 9 had you swaying slow, the next track is gonna make your shoulders move. We're turning up the groove just a little bit with this next one. Number 8, Groove Me by King Floyd.
And I want you to be my spouse.
Now this is that Saturday afternoon, windows open, everybody cleaning the house kind of soul. Released in 1970 on the small but mighty Chimneyville Records, Groove Me came out of New Orleans with that unmistakable Gulf Coast pulse.
So that we can live happily now.
Part soul, part funk, part pure, get up and move. What makes it special is how simple it feels and how alive it sounds. King Floyd wasn't a huge star, and that's exactly why this record lives in the memory of the ones who were really there.
Come on, baby. Hey there, sugar darlings. Let me.
This wasn't always playing on national radio. It was spinning on local stations, jukeboxes, corner bars, and backyard barbecues. The groove is tight but loose, easy but confident, like the soundtrack to someone stepping out in freshly shined shoes. There's a story here too. The song almost didn't get released.
You look so sweet and you're so doggone fat.
The label hesitated, thinking it was too raw. But when DJs started spinning it on their own, the people decided otherwise, and the track shot to #1 on the R&B charts. Close your eyes. You can see the sunlight dancing off linoleum floors, somebody's auntie humming while snapping green beans, kids running past the stereo.
Sweet taste in my mouth now, and I won't.
It's the sound of a house full of life. If that brought you back to the good times, wait until you hear #7. We're staying in the groove, but adding silk to it. #7, Stone Soul Picnic by the Fifth Dimension. Released in 1968 but living strong all the way through the 1970s, this was one of those songs that didn't just play on the radio. It floated through the air. Written by Laura Nyro and delivered with that signature Fifth Dimension glow. Stone Soul Picnic felt like sunshine poured straight from the sky into your chest. Now, if you grew up in the 70s, you might remember how this track could change the whole mood of a room. It wasn't loud. It wasn't trying to be. It was a vibe. Sweet, dreamy, peaceful. Like freshly ironed curtains swaying in an open window. Like cousins laughing on the porch. Like life feeling easy for just a moment. The harmonies are layered like watercolor. Florence LaRue's tender lead floating over those pillowy background vocals. There's a quiet joy here, almost spiritual. And that's what made the Fifth Dimension special. They didn't just sing songs, they created atmospheres. And here's the little known note. At the time, critics couldn't quite categorize them. Too soulful for pop, too pop for soul, too soft for the funk arriving just over the horizon. But everyday people didn't care. We just knew it felt good. This was picnic blanket music, roller rink music, summer with no worries music. And if this one felt like floating, the next track is going to take you right to the dance floor. #6, Boogie Nights by Heatwave. Now, when this one came on, phew, the party didn't start. It ignited. Released in 1997 on the GTO and Epic labels, Boogie Nights was Heatwave's breakthrough into the mainstream, written by the group's own Rod Temperton.
Let it take you higher. Make it move. Set this.
Yes, the same man who would later write Rock With You and Thriller for Michael Jackson. Before he was crafting history, he was here, making hips move in the neighborhood rec center. What made Boogie Nights unforgettable wasn't just the groove, though that deep bass line and glossy keyboard shimmer can still pull you out of your chair today.
Keep on dealing. Dance with the boogie, get down.
It was the way the song felt like escape. After a long week, school, factory shifts, family stresses, bills stacked on the table, this song said, "Tonight we dance. No worries, no limits, just joy." And if you remember the 1970s dance floor scene, wooden floors, mirrored walls, maybe a spinning colored light somebody bought on sale. You know what this meant. This was the moment in the night where everybody was sweating, smiling, alive. You didn't need to be the best dancer, you just needed to step into the groove. It reached the top 10 in both the UK and the US, proving that soul and funk were becoming universal languages. And we're only halfway through our journey. If these songs are bringing back memories, the cookouts, the slow dances, the Saturday cleaning, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It helps keep R&B history alive for everybody who still feels it in their heart. And stay tuned. We've still got 5 more classics you know in your bones. Number 5, Sideshow by Blue Magic.
Can't afford to pass it by, guaranteed.
Now this one could stop the whole room. Released in 1974 on Atco Records, Sideshow is one of those heartbreak slow jams that every grown folk station played deep into the evening. Blue Magic had a gift for delicate emotional harmonies, voices that sounded like quiet tears on the cheek, not wailing or begging, just hurting. The song opens with that circus announcer intro, almost theatrical, like love was a performance gone wrong. And for a lot of us growing up in the 70s, whether we knew heartbreak yet or not, this song told us what heartbreak felt like.
See the man with the broken heart.
It was the soundtrack of grown-ups sitting at the kitchen table long after dinner, staring into coffee cups, thinking about life and love and what could have been. Lead singer Ted Wizard Mills carried this with such fragile grace. He didn't just sing the words, he sounded like he was living them. That was the magic of Philadelphia soul. Strings like warm rain, soft background harmonies like old memories calling your name.
Guaranteed to make you cry with the side.
Emotions painted in rich, tender colors. It hit number 1 on the R&B charts, but for those who lived the era, it didn't need radio stats. It lived in our houses, in our hallways, in the quiet moments when everyone thought nobody was watching.
It's more exciting than a one-man.
And if this one had your heart leaning back in your chair, the next track brings us back to a warm breeze, late nights, and the gentle kind of groove that only one legendary group could deliver. Number 4, Summer Breeze by the Isley Brothers.
Summer breeze, all in my mind.
Released in 1974 as part of their legendary 3+3 era, the Isley Brothers took a soft rock tune from Seals and Crofts and transformed it into something soulful, sensual, and deeply Black American summertime. Their version wasn't just a cover, it was a reimagining. A warm weather memory wrapped in satin vocals and Ernie Isley's silky crying guitar tone. If you grew up in the 1970s, you remember what summer felt like. Screen doors creaking, box fans humming in the window, the smell of fresh cut grass and charcoal grills. And somewhere, this record was playing.
A little light shining through the windows lets me know
Maybe your older cousin had it on vinyl. Maybe your dad played it cleaning his car in the driveway. Maybe it drifted from an open apartment window across the courtyard at dusk. The Isleys had a way of slowing life down, of turning a moment into something you could live inside of. Ronald's voice on this track feels like a soft hand on the shoulder saying, breathe. Everything is all right.
not a care in the world.
Meanwhile, Ernie's guitar practically sings its own heartbreak, bending each note like a memory you can't quite place but never truly forget. This wasn't a party record. This was a life record. One of those songs you didn't have to talk through. You just let it play and let it wash over you. Now, if this one felt like a cool breeze on the porch at dusk, the next track is all about pure, unstoppable soul power. Number 3, I will still just want to do something freaky to you by Leon Haywood.
I wanna do something freaky to you. Right.
Released in 1975 on 20th Century Records, this is the kind of song that played on late night radio when the kids were supposed to be asleep. But every grown person in the house knew exactly what hour it was.
In the name of love, ooh, with everything I got.
Leon Haywood crafted something smooth, sensual, grown, and you didn't need to understand the lyrics to feel the meaning. If you were a kid in the 70s, you just remember the vibe. Lights dim, voices low. Maybe someone humming along while folding laundry or sipping something from a tall glass.
Right now, oh baby.
The magic of this track is the groove. Warm, slow, and steady like a heartbeat that knows where it wants to go. A deep bass line that doesn't rush, keys floating like incense. Haywood's voice speaking, almost like he's right there beside you. Here's the twist. Years later, this track would become a foundation for West Coast hip-hop, sampled most famously in Dr. Dre's Nothing But a G Thing. But before it was history, it was a mood, a soft R&B nightcap for grown folks coming home from work, kicking off their shoes and letting the world quiet down. If you remember this track from living rooms with low lamps, incense burners, or even that one uncle who always had his shirt unbuttoned just a bit too far. Yeah, you were there. And if this one brought back grown folks our memories, number 2 is going to bring back family gatherings, cookouts, and full living room joy. Number 2, Strawberry Letter 23 by the Brothers Johnson. This is the sound of summer joy bottled in music. Released in 1977 on A&M Records, produced by the genius Quincy Jones himself, Strawberry Letter 23 wasn't just a hit. It was an atmosphere, a dream you could dance in. The Brothers Johnson took Shuggy Otis's original composition and wrapped it in soft funk, airy harmonies, and that unmistakable guitar sparkle from George Johnson that felt like sunlight bouncing off water. If you grew up in the 1970s, you'll remember how this song shimmered. It wasn't loud. It wasn't trying to be the center of attention. It was the track that came on when the day was winding down, the grill was cooling off, kids were catching lightning bugs in the yard, and the grown folks were laughing low and easy. There was something magical about it, almost psychedelic, but still grounded in soul. The chorus felt like floating. The percussion tapped like fingertips on a picnic table. And when that guitar solo slid in, the whole world seemed to lean back and exhale. This was backyard party music, folding chair music, bare feet in the grass music. It hit number 1 on the R&B chart, but more importantly, it became one of those songs that feels like memory itself. And now, we've made it to number 1. Before we get there, take a breath. Because this next track isn't just remembered, it's lived deeply in every soul that grew up in the 70s. Number 1, Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye.
Let's get it on, baby.
Released in 1973 on Motown's Tamla label, Let's Get It On wasn't just a song. It was a cultural awakening. Marvin Gaye had just come through the storm of what's going on, social sorrow, reflection, spiritual questioning. But here, he stepped into desire, intimacy, and the healing power of love and touch.
Like I feel, baby, then come on. Oh!
This wasn't about lust alone. It was about connection. 2 hearts, 2 souls, a moment held soft and safe. If you grew up in the 1970s, you remember how adults reacted to this song. The room changed. The air changed. People swayed slower. Voices hushed. Maybe someone smiled just a little too knowingly. Kids didn't understand the words yet, but we understood the feeling. It was warm. It was closeness. It was grown folk tenderness.
And giving yourself to me can never be wrong.
And behind the scenes, Marvin recorded this while wrestling with his own heartbreak, his own searching for peace. That's why every note sounds like a man opening his heart and saying, love is sacred, love is healing, love is necessary. The guitar slides like fingertips, the horns rise like a deep breath, and Marvin's voice, soft, human, vulnerable, real. It reached #1 on both the R&B and pop charts, but charts don't tell its story.
No, I ain't gonna push. I won't push, babe.
This was, and still is, the sound of love, played across decades of living rooms, bedrooms, slow dances, and moments we don't even talk about. But we remember, and that's why it stands here, at the top, where love lives. From backyard cookouts to late-night slow jams, these songs weren't just music. They were life. The laughter, the heartache, the rhythm of growing up in a world that felt slower, warmer, and full of soul. Thank you for taking this stroll back through time with us. If you felt the memories tonight, go ahead and subscribe so you never miss the next soul journey. Up next, click to watch 10 underrated R&B soul bands from the 1970s. Let's keep the music playing. Let's keep the memories alive.